YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to episode number 6 of Leicester Reborn. In today's episode, we're in the fourth round of the FA Cup versus Aston Villa, and it's our second test against English Premier League opposition in the save here in Season 1 of the Championship. Without further ado, give the episode a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and links down below to follow me live on Twitch. However, for the first time in a long while, not on stream for a YouTube episode, and that is out of my control. If I go to my Discord and that is a good old screen. I haven't had internet for the last 18 and a bit hours. That is correct. I wake up filming on the 5th of the 7th. I woke up at 6 in the morning, no internet. Come home from work at 5:30, no internet. 2.5 hours on hold with my provider. Still no internet. We have a massive outage here in South Australia and apparently New South Wales as well with my provider because they've just been bought out by another company. Good fun indeed. Which means that I'm a little bit loopy, I'm a little bit annoyed, but at least things with Leicester have been going well. However, we have dropped a game of football, and of course it didn't happen on stream either, which I'm kind of annoyed at. So our last game that we had was Spurs. Last game we played on stream was them too. So we played a handful of games whilst we've been waiting, obviously after work, and a couple of games with my morning coffee. A very good run, beat Blackburn 3-0, Sheffield 4-0, Watford 4-0, Salford 4-2 in a game where I forgot to make changes. Cardiff 2-0, Swansea 2-0. We rotated against Swansea, and then I decided to still fully rotate here against Hull. This is a big game coming up for me. And 2.31 XG, 23 shots. They had 3 shots on target. Hull scored all 3. The first time we've been absolutely FM'd in this entire save. Xavier Simmons, or Xavier Simmons, not Xavi, he was picking locks like he was Xavier Simmons, is what I'm trying to say. And it wasn't fun because that's our first draw, which means after 28 matches and 28 wins in a row, our winning streak is over at 28, but it means after 29 games played, we're already on 85 points. It basically means we're promoted, and it's been a good fun. And I've only conceded 16 goals in 29 matches. We have been fantastic. In saying that, there has been a couple of bits of transfer business. And let's go through and recap these on the ins and the outs. So if we go, the big ones on the out is Wout Faes got upset saying, I haven't played enough football. I turned around and said, mate, you're not good enough. You played for me at the 7.03, but a lot of theirs was train wrecks in those. He played 4 games internationally below a 7 as well. He played a couple games in the cup at a 7.2. He was okay, but I'm like, mate, every time you played, out of all the centre-backs, you're the one that impacts the game the least. I'm going to sell you on for your 20 to 30 mil. No one made a bid. So in the end, he went to, where did he go to now? On loan. He went to, if I go back to the other one, apologies guys, Marseille, paying like 80% of his wage, plus they give me 200k a month or 150k a month for him going there. I'm just going to take the money and off we go and be very, very happy with that. Second big out was Yannick Vestergaard. He went to Sochi. He complained he wasn't getting enough minutes. Had 5 centre-backs. Wasn't allowed to sell him because he was just signed a new contract, apparently, even though, obviously he would have been at Leicester a full year, in the actual seasons, if it was 23-24, was allowed to sell him. He got upset. I'd sold him, a little bit of money, which is okay, but it means that we had to make some changes at centre-back. Lastly, maybe a little bit more shocking is Sammy Braybrook's gone out on loan to Charolais in the is it Charolais or RCSC in the Belgian Pro League. And the reason for that is he goes in and be their most important player and their key player, which is huge. Secondly, if you have a look at the 2 different types of divisions, if we look at the DOPDA Pro League and go to Profile, it's ahead of the Championship by a few different divisions. That's important because it means that Sammy Braybrook, who was only playing off the bench for me, playing in the occasional game, can now go and play as the star player in a good side that are fighting for European football. That maybe a touch too far off, but be fighting to get into that championship group that Belgium splits off into and get good minutes for the rest of the season. And that means when he comes back to me, he's going to develop and be very good. Now, we have Will Alves, who is staying, and I'm not getting rid of him because he covers left wing and centre attacking mid when we need to rotate, and he's very dynamic. Where if you look at Sammy Braybrook, if we go back to our loans and have a look at Sammy Braybrook, who is about to go on a massive amount of progress in a second, he's a little bit more well-rounded. He doesn't have the greatest dynamism, etc. But what he does have is very well-rounded stats that need to be playing at a high level consistently to develop. Being homegrown and at the club, we can loan him out. It's a great loan for him, and we're definitely looking at using him down the future to save the 5-star potential. His mentals are very good for a young kid. Physically well-rounded, technically well-rounded. I think he's going to be great with that loan. Hasn't done anything these first 3 games really of note, but more importantly, even though he's a good championship player, he's the perfect guy to loan out right now, get consistent minutes at a very high club with very good facilities. But it also means that we had to buy or bring in a backup centre defensive mid as well as a backup centre back. I'm going to start with the centre defensive mid first because he isn't here full time, and that is Stefan Bajcetic. Now, Bajcetic was unfortunately fielded by Liverpool in the 3rd round of the FA Cup as my bid was in for him, which was quite annoying. But what he can do is play centre defensive mid and centre back. In real life, had a great first season, a bit of a breakout year for Liverpool, someone that I like a lot and hopefully will be part of our midfield moving forward in real life as I'm a massive Liverpool fan. But what he does do for me on this save is I loan out a youngster down one way and I start to build rapport with another youngster that generally on FM grows a bit and then Liverpool release. So I don't know if it's going to be the same in this save because it has updated potential and he looks much better than the base one that came out at the start of this game cycle. But yeah, Stefan Bajcetic in the hole, in the middle of the park, backup defensive midfielder for league games, and I think he's going to be fantastic. 6'1", and hopefully we get a good rapport with him that maybe we could loan him in when we get to the Premier League. And if he develops well, maybe someone that we can pinch from Liverpool as a bit of our own prospect. The second one, however, fits the mold of what I'm trying to do. Take players this season away from the best teams around us. We did that with Melier with Leeds, fantastic. It's worked out sensationally well. And well, we did it for Andrew Ombabambadele, who usually on FM grows into an absolutely amazing centre defensive midfielder. My glory hunter save, he stayed at Norwich the whole time and Norwich won the Europa League twice. Wouldn't be bad if that happens with us as well. Got 14s and 15s across the board with good pace and they're 6'3", 20 years of age, the Irish international, only wanted to come in to be a squad player. More importantly, because Norwich is in the championship, he wasn't particularly happy because he wanted to go to the Prem, but considering I've won basically every game up until the point I signed him because he was part of the team that didn't win against Hull, he only wanted to leave for 18 mil. 18 mil, all up front, no additional clauses or anything like that. We took Andrew Ombabambadele in, and well, say hello to your third choice centre back. Yes, Johnny Evans is better on paper at the moment, but Johnny Evans will decline and he will become much better. I also think there's a world where I know Harry Souttar's playing out of his skin and is considered the best centre back in the league, in the championship. With his lack of pace, I see well Ombabambadele gets a lot of minutes and will actually grow and become a lot better. Our issue is of course Norwich fielded him in the FA Cup, which means both players that we've signed aren't able to play in the FA Cup for us this season as they're cup tied. Doesn't matter to me too much because they're mainly being brought in as depth players to rotate through the league in the easier games, plus the league effectively being wrapped up. I think we've got to throw all our resources into an FA Cup run, which would be fantastic. So those are the two new signings, and Bajcetic and Ombabambadele. Let me know what you think. I think I'm really excited about Ombabambadele. Haven't really used him on FM. Same with like Max Aarons. If Aarons gets upset with Norwich at any stage, might look at him at right back, even though we've got James Justin and Castagna. Let's go have a look at Aston Villa, who currently sit 14th in the Premier League. Obviously, in real life, had a very good year under Unai Emery. In this game, not having the greatest. Yuri Tielemans, who obviously went from Leicester to Aston Villa in real life at the end of the season on a free, is their key player and looks fantastic and is having a decent year in the Premier League. So there we go. Recent form for Aston Villa looks like this as well. Pretty patchy. Beat Burnley, drew to Everton and Forest. Lost to Forest as well. They played them twice in 4 days there, and they knocked Cardiff out of the championship there as well. And saying that, struggled of late, and it looks like they had a pretty decent start. They are in the Conference League, and they did get through top of the Conference League group without losing a game. So this is a pretty good test for us because if we beat Villa away at Villa Park, I really look at the Premier League next year going, okay, we're going to be a mid-table or top half side, especially after what we did with against Spurs last episode. Lastly, Mangala Sarr, as I said, when I signed him, it definitely said to be a ball-playing defender, which I said yes to. For whatever reason, after he signed, I said, oh no, you said libero, which I never did. I actually looked back at the footage, and it did say ball-playing defender. Yet again, another one of these glitches. Tried to talk him out of it because he's now unhappy he wasn't playing his position. He's not having a bar, but he's upset. They generally will get over it over time. Plus, we got him into 2026. So if he doesn't get over it, or whilst he's playing in the Premier League for us next year, then I'll just sell him on. He's developing pretty well, got great physicals, and makes up for the lack of speed that Harry Souttar doesn't have. Now, the team itself, they've been given a little bit of a rest the last couple of games, and so they're fit, they're firing, and they're fresh. And it's Meslier and goal with Castagne, Souttar, Sarr, and Thomas. Indindi and Drewsbury Hall together. Harvey Barnes on the right with Scott and Lucas Moore, and that's more down to Lucas Moore being outrageous on the left. Harvey Barnes is actually having a really good year and starting to really hit his stride, which is good to see as well. And Ian Nacho, I've signed to a new deal. He's wanted by Aston Villa. I've decided to not sell him to Villa and sign him to a new long-term deal. Main reason is that brings him until he's about 30 here, and I feel like in the Premier League next year, where it's going to be a year of consolidation, we can use Ian Nacho next season up front because he's fairly consistent. There won't be any European football unless we win the FA Cup, and things change obviously. But you never know. We've only lost one game all year, and that was the Spurs in a penalty shootout. So maybe we do win the FA Cup. Who knows? But yeah, I've decided to tie down Ian Nacho. Pace, consistent, composure, finishing, good technique. As an advanced forward, exactly what you need. 6'1", and yeah. Oh, lastly, before I forget as well, his name is Jamie Vardy, and in real life, Jamie Vardy, right, doesn't want to leave Leicester. He had big bids, by the way, I think from Saudi Arabia to go, and he said no. He wants to leave because he achieved everything. I tried to talk him out of it, and he said, no, I really want to leave by, which is not what Vardy's like at all in real life. Shame, because he's pretty good to be as a backup striker here. I've now tried to sell him, and no one actually wants to pay his fee, and yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen in 4 days if he's going to get angry at me or whatever. Team, though, is full strength. Let's see how we go out here today against Aston Villa. Let's go and see how they line up as well. Team looks motivated. Look, I believe in the chairman asked me that because they didn't want to give me a new more sports sciences, but that's fine. Watkins and Toro out front will continue on the left. Interesting with Bailey on the right and 4-4-2 with Tielemans. Digne, Mings, Diego Carlos as well. Martinez was in goal. A very standard Aston Villa side. 4-4-2. Emre does change it up a little bit with that as well. So, yeah, look, pretty good side. Matty Cash was at right back for those wondering as well. I almost expect us to go here and play good football. It's just a matter if we're going to concede or not. Drewsbury Hall whips one in there. Harry Souttar flicks in and just over the bar. Martinez in pretty good position, to be fair, to make a save. So maybe would not have gone in anyway. But a very good start until Harvey Barnes picks up an injury. And our big worry is actually we probably lack a left or right winger. Hopefully there's not a long-term injury to Harvey Barnes. There's a potential in the injury. That could be potentially an ACL. Hopefully not a cruciate. Because if it is, I guess we can say we've got tons of money and we'll just go and buy someone that's really good, that is happy to come to the championship, which, I don't know who we could buy, but we've got 90 million that we could spend. Maybe not exactly 90 because we bought Oma Bammadele, but yeah. Anyway, 40 minutes played, even game in terms of possession. We've had slightly more chances, but nothing really to write home about. Another highlight, though, for us to try and find Harry Souttar's head. That's a decent ball. Harry Souttar's there. Martinez with a world-class save from a world-class keeper. And, well, Martinez denies Harry Souttar. Ian Nacho, Tete, gets a shot at Gray. And, well, I tell you what, this Tete guy from Lyon, every time he's played, he's looked good. I'm almost tempted to go, all right, Leon, what do you want? Because he's fit into the squad perfectly well as a backup right winger, and he's doing amazing. In the end, Ian Nacho's ball, found Tete, got onto his right peg, and, well, maybe Martinez needs to do a little bit better. But that was superb, and we'll take the 1-0 lead right on half-time here in the FA Cup. It's a very good performance. We're going to start the second half here as well. If you have liked the episode and you're still watching, give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is great to see the channel growing ever so slowly, but growing, which is always good. For those that don't know why I do this content, it's mainly just so my boys in England who only watch maybe one stream every couple of weeks can stay up to date with what we're doing. With that being said, we have a few bookings out here which I don't like. Boba Samara is going to come in for Ndindi. I think that's the first thing. James Justin's going to come in and Christian's going to get rid of some bookings. And those are your changes there. And it's mainly for me to think about bookings. At the same time, I'm also going to go and get stuck in off because I do not want the red card. And that is that. With time ticking away here, 63 minutes, Martinez now with the ball and goes long to the 4-4-2 here. And in the end, Magalasar wins. Samar, good touch one. Drewsbury Hall drives into the space, looks for Tete. Tete from Lyon, picks it up. Cuts it. James Justin, Drewsbury Hall on his left peg, hits one, blocked, Tete goal. Is it onside or is there an offside? I do not know. I think it's onside for Tete but it depends if Scott was onside when the shot was hit for the original one. The boys have celebrated, which usually means they've scored, and yeah, we're 2-0 up for a brace from Tede, and we're beating Aston Villa here at Villa Park. It's always good. That's onside, and yeah, Tede looked arguably could have been slightly off. So there's no question that Scott was off, because that was my first iteration, but then was like Scott was well in. They're picking it up from here. My issue is when it's hit Scott. Backstick kept him on anyway, so that's fine. Look, happy with that. That's a pretty good 70 minutes there. I'm also going to get Lucas Moura for Willie Alves as well. Last gasp here as well. 70th minute change, but last change that we can make. And 2-0 up. 20 shots, 11. Second half, we've absolutely dominated. And Will Alves, who looks good on the left and great through the hole, picks it up and finds Mangala Sarr. Drewsbury Hall looking for Christensen. Willie Alves is inside of Christensen and finds him. Will Alves inside to Scott. Scott to Iheanacho. Iheanacho might have been offside. Good movement, but I think Iheanacho was offside. I think Scott had to shoot, Alex Scott. This time they're not celebrating, which generally means it's off, and it is off. And there we go. Yeah, Willie Alves, good ball to Scott, and Scott, Iheanacho offside by a mile. I reckon he should have really went for goal himself, but there we go. Well played in the end by the boys. Except for Iheanacho, didn't want to keep his line. Time ticks away. Absolutely dominated the second half here against Villa, showing our superiority. Now it's all about how injured is Harvey Barnes. Hopefully not long term, because we could be a big injury. Don't really care about the bookings because it's the bookings. Everton beat Millwall. Would have been an interesting game for them. How injured is Harvey Barnes? 4 to 5 weeks. That's okay. We can live with that. It's obviously 4 to 5 weeks where we won't have Harvey Barnes, but it's a month of football. In that month of football, we got 6 league games, one against Norwich, but the league's pretty much over. I think what we're going to be here is for the 5th round of the FA Cup at the end of Feb. See who we get here, or it could be Leeds, because we haven't played Leeds, I think, in a YouTube episode this season. They're one of the other teams that are predicted to come up with us as well. But with that being said, that is this episode done. If you've enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. As much as we've been one of the best teams in the world this season, because we've won everything bar the Spurs draw there, we have finally dropped points to Hull. Would have been nice to do that on stream, because I was not particularly happy when Hull scored in the 88th minute. Look, if that's what I'm complaining about, that we're dropping points and it's not 29 wins from 29, it's 28 wins from 29 with a draw, I ain't going to really complain too much, am I? With that being said, give it a like. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, as well. And, of course, when we are getting the internet back, links down below. Come follow us live on Twitch. Thank you. And, of course, goodbye.